Welcome to another episode of our podcast. Our guests today are guys from a Swedish occult rock or metal band, Year of the Goat. Hello, guys. How are you?
We're fine, thank you. I'm fine. How are
Hello.
you?
Yeah, exactly. How are you? We're fine.
It's great to have you. And first of all, the name itself, Year of the Goat. Why did you name the band that way? I mean, what's the story behind the name?
It's part of the Jewish tradition of the scapegoat. I don't know if you're familiar with it,
I
where
am.
you let one goat go out to Azazel into the desert, to the wilderness. And this time, and also the goat can be Satan, sometimes is depicted as a goat. And we figured it had been the year of the lamb for too long. So now every year is the year of the goat. So something like that.
So how did it start? I mean, previously you were in a band called Gravesite in Swedish.
Yeah, Thomas was in Griftegård, yeah. And previously, or before that, Poppe and Thomas had a band called, help me out, House of Aquarius.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's also
and
Dear Mutant, where so we knew each other from before.
yeah, and Year of the Goat was started with Thomas and a drummer called Frederick. So they started jamming some songs, and slowly, while the songs developed, they got more and more members into the band. I joined shortly when the first EP was recorded, and played for the first EP and the first full length, and then left the band for a while. And while I moved within Sweden, moved closer to where Thomas lived, and that way I got back into, or not back, I got into Griftegård with Thomas, and that way came back into Year of the Goat, kind of. So yeah, Griftegård is a heavy doom band for the people who don't know it. It's it's dead but dreaming today. We decided to call it quits 2018, I think, or something like that.
So no chance of ever recording under that moniker again.
Well, you should never say never. There have been talks, but nothing. It's just talk from this point. So we'll see what happens.
Because basically it was a bit similar to Year of the Goat. I mean, obviously heavier and less flamboyant, right? But
Yeah.
like in the same not genre, but feeling.
Vein.
Sort of. Vein, yeah. Okay, so you've got your new album coming out next month. Was recording it any different from the previous ones?
Yes, we had a different guy mixing it to begin with. The previous albums has been a local guy that is an old friend of the band. He nowadays plays bass in Cult of Luna, by the way. That was the main difference. We wanted to try something different, and we did most of the recording ourselves this time, apart from the drums, where we went to an old friend as well, who has a big studio with great sound for drums. But I think that's the main difference. We did all the guitars ourselves, all the bass, all the vocals. So, but we haven't done it like that before. Yeah, sorry. Even if we've always been very involved in the recording process, and we've always had opinions of how it should sound or things like that. We've always been very involved in the recording process.
That guy from Cult of Luna actually recorded the album of the band Joel. I'm wearing a T-shirt at the moment.
Oh, he did?
I think he did, yeah. I think so. It's a Dutch
Nice.
band. They play psychedelic rock, I guess.
Yeah, I'm familiar with them. Only have the first album, but nice. I didn't know
Yeah,
he was involved.
yeah. I think he did the Shape of Fluidity.
Okay.
The album's title is Trivia Goddess. That's a reference to Hecate, right? The Greek goddess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why pick her?
She's a symbol. She was a symbol for. She has been a symbol for witches, among one thing. Um, I think that's where we came to her, because the recording process more and more drew towards a female power, sort of, and throughout history, how women have been subjected to what we would call injustices by the church, many different churches actually, and so she moved in there. She's a symbol of the female liberation known as witchcraft, maybe. I don't know.
The fertility and death at once, like crossroads, right?
Yeah, that's
Diane and Hecate.
yeah, yeah. The crossroads is definitely the crossroads between life and death, like you say.
But I've got two questions about it. Like, for starters, why did an all-male band, well, excluding the girl you have on backing vocals, right, record a feministic album? That's kind of ironic in a way.
Mm, I'm not sure if it is, because we have mothers, we have sisters, we have friends, we have lovers, sort of. So it's women are a part of our lives, and we value them. And maybe we see a world that doesn't always value them the way we do. So uh, it came naturally. So
Um, is misogyny a big thing, a big problem in Sweden nowadays?
I think there is some sort of undercurrent everywhere. Uh, we are moving away from. We're moving towards more equality, I think, on many, but still there is um the wage gap is still a thing in Sweden. Like, women generally earn less, or female dominated jobs are usually there are usually less pay there. It's not like there of course there are women who earn more money than me. Most of them do, and so uh, but in general, sort of. So there is still misogyny, and I think it's sort of growing. It's been growing for a while, uh, for the last maybe 6 or 7 years. I feel like it has been growing.
An unsettling question then, perhaps. Would you attribute it to the growing number of non-Swedish people living in Sweden?
Nah, I wouldn't say so. But we have enough people in Sweden who are, you know, Christian enough to be the problem. Uh, I shouldn't name any band names, but I know where I come from is a very religious area, and there is a heavy metal band actually there from whose wife is a nurse, and she refuses to do abortions because it's not part of her religion. Um, and you know it's a part of her job, and I think that's maybe it's easier for us in Sweden. We don't have that religious people like in in Poland, for example, where
Yep.
abortion is yeah, a big issue for
Yeah,
women.
the only country in European Union that has more strict abortion laws is actually Malta.
Yeah. So no, nah, we have our problems, immigrants or not.
Okay, second one about the title of the album. I mean, about the witchcraft itself. Uh, I've checked, and there were 400 witch trials in Sweden.
No.
No,
Many of them were pretty closely connected, because there was some sort of mass hysteria. But it's not only Sweden. It's we don't overly focus on Sweden, but there were many in Sweden, and it became pretty soon. It was during a rather short period of time, and pretty soon
the Great Nose.
yeah, uh, pretty soon it became embarrassing for the powers that be, that it sort of got out of hand. Uh, so luckily they stopped it, but it started out with some kids going nuts and blaming people to left and right, pretty much like the Salem witch trials also sort of started the same way. And using of what's it called, I can't remember, the sort of evidence where oh, I dreamt she was a witch, oh, that's good enough, so let's burn her. Sort of, it's called something, I can't remember the word for it in English or in Swedish or in Polish or any other language. So
Well, here in Poland, we had like 10 times the number of witch trials you had in Sweden, I think, around that. And usually we didn't burn them. We put them into water and they drowned.
in Sweden, I think they hanged most of them and then burnt them when they were dead. So I think the witch burning thing is more of a like a Spanish, or I'm not sure, but I know like the Salem witch trials. I think there were more burnings, and maybe there is like the memory, or the people, when people recite it, they talk about witch burnings, sort of. But I think in Sweden, I kind of remember they mostly were hung.
Yeah, because usually you attribute witch trials to Catholicism, and actually Protestants burned more witches than Catholics did
Yeah,
in
probably.
general, especially American ones.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's you, Ghost, Lucifer, Graveyard, Witchcraft, Deadman. It's just, a plethora of Swedish bands that play vintage music or occult music. Is there something in the water?
Or maybe there's something lacking. Maybe
Yeah.
there's something. Maybe there's nothing in the water. The water is not very holy. Maybe, I don't know. Usually, I
I,
don't.
I I haven't I haven't thought about it like that. I do think what you're saying about Great Britain, because they have lots of amazing bands. And if you think about the like Paradise Lost, Madame Bride, Anathema, who has that like dark and gloomy vibe, you could think that they have something, or the lack of something anti-depressing in the water. But I haven't thought about them in Sweden, to be honest. Now, what I wanted to say is that Sweden has a strong, musical export to begin with. So we do have the advantage of getting governmental funds for playing music, which is, I guess, kind of unique for Sweden.
The thing about the occult thing and the 70s retro, I think maybe the 70s retro thing, or whatever we should call it, is because just like the things are moving in cycles. Maybe we're coming into an 80s retro thing again soon. We had that not too long ago, and we had another 70s, maybe not that much in metal and hard rock, but I think it moves in cycles. And the occult thing, I don't know, we're not that often calling ourselves occult like that. We are making like rock music, and we love Satan, and that's it. Pretty much. No, and usually it, yeah, there you go. Usually it's often great way, a metaphor to against established beliefs in society. Even though Sweden is a very secular country, there are still things happening, and you're considered kind of weird if you don't. What do you mean you don't want to go to church on a special occasion? Well, I don't really. It has to be really special for me to go, sort of. But it's so I don't know. It's still there, and maybe we're thinking a lot about it. Things like this. I come from like 9 generations of Orthodox priests from Serbia, so not before my grandfather's father or something. So I sort of had it with not the water, but with my upbringings, sort of. And sometime I started thinking, and I turned away from it, sort of. Maybe it's a rebellion, but that's kind of what Satan does.
Yeah, kind of given your last name, I could kind of guess you were from an Orthodox background.
Yeah.
So basically, you're not a spiritual person at the moment, right? What about you, Jonas?
No, and I can't say that I am. Um, yeah, difficult question, but I'm more of a music person, I guess. If you think of the spirituality in the band, I'm not the part that contributes to that, I would say. But yeah, every chance I can get, I will use it to go against religion. Yeah.
But is it like a political or ideological agenda, or just a tongue-in-cheek joke humor you ever go does?
I wouldn't say a tongue-in-cheek thing. For instance, if you look at in the U.S., you have the Satanic Temple and also Church of Satan that were. They used it as a metaphor. It's still on. They are still atheistic. They don't believe in any gods like that. And it's a symbol. It's a metaphor. It's a sort of it's a symbol for the rebellion of. Uh, so in a way, it is political. If we were, I'm a member of the Satanic Temple, so if I were to go there, I agree with their tenets, and but I'm not in any way speaking for them. But they are turning it political and using it to oppose the slow and gradual attempt to make USA a theocracy, and they are now pretty much on their way of succeeding in making it that way, with Paula White as the special religions person.
Did you see Hail Satan, the movie?
Oh yeah, yeah. I know they weren't really happy with it all the way, but it's a good thing. I know there were some Swedish Satanists who were sort of mentioned as affiliated with the Satanic Temple, but they went out here in Sweden and said, "No, we're not with them." But I think they're doing a good thing, so I'm supporting them. We should watch out for theocracy, I think.
You don't have to tell me anything about theocracy here in Poland.
I understand.
And is that a huge problem? I mean, religion in Sweden nowadays. Like, is it just a custom, something people are used to, like a anti-ritual, or is it an issue?
And I
It
think
can,
that goes in cycles as well. I mean, with the conservatives getting stronger, the religion also gets stronger, and you notice that it is it's a growing problem at the moment. But for a long time, it didn't used to be a big issue, I would say.
there is some. I think there are some things you notice in some ways. Like I said before, uh, there are many things that are implied that this is the way you do it, and people get upset. I know, like schools, some schools are um, thinking like, oh, maybe we'll do our last day out in the instead of going to a church, since we have many students and teachers who don't want to go to the church. Maybe we should keep it somewhere else. And there is always every year a huge thing about it's tradition. We should be in the church. In Sweden, we are Christians and all of that. So it kind of wakes up a couple of times a year around Christmas as well. We have adopted the American War Against Christmas or Fox News War Against Christmas. Like somebody's trying to take Christmas away.
Well, Coke did.
Yeah, yeah, they
Yeah.
did. The Koch brothers. They're taking a lot away from us.
Okay, so there's a lot of lore behind the band, right? And you don't really expose that lore as much as, I don't know, ghosts do, right? You don't issue any messages from the clergy. Um, can you tell me more about, the whole Year of the Goat satanic agenda? Is there a narration, like a story behind it, or just what you mentioned previously?
We have, I think it's, but we're not very open with it because it's never been like, oh, we should have this image and do this genial thing that Tobias from Ghost is doing. We never had that. We are not geniuses like him, but not in any way.
But come
But
on, it's not like your songs are less hooky and catchy than Ghosts.
yeah, but
You just
no, I'm just talking about the image thing, because we never really had that. We were mainly like, okay, we should be half decently dressed and kind of be, yeah, like that. But anyway, the first album, Angels Necropolis, we started a trilogy. And the second part of that trilogy is the last album we did. And the third part will be the next album. So we have a plan, but we're not very open with it. Angels Necropolis is like the antithesis to Milton's Paradise Lost, a war battle in heaven, and in with Milton, there Satan and his angels are condemned to go to hell. But in our version, God is killed on December 21st of 2012. End of the Mayan calendar is when we released that album, but we didn't really go out with it. Oh, we're doing this thing on the with a Mayan calendar, but well, we're not like that. And the second album, anyway, Jesus has gotten, the Son is still alive, but without God, can he have any morals? Is the question. Because often you hear from Christians that you cannot be moral without God. Not every Christian says that, but it's a thing that is being mentioned. Without God, we wouldn't have any morals. So we play on that, and or let's say put it like this: we had a vision from Satan, and it's maybe it was because that's pretty much what a vision is. You come up with something and then you say it's from God or whatever, but we realize that if he has no moral, Jesus, he was offered to rule from a lesser throne or to be cast down to earth. So we took that old Isaiah quote, "Oh, how thou art fallen, O Lucifer," and put it on Jesus and sent him to earth without any morals. And he was tempted 7 times, the seven deadly sins. The first song on the album is Subortus, which is rebirth. So he's kind of new and fresh on the earth. Not he's fully grown, but he's new and fresh. And the last song, and then you have seven deadly sin, and the last song is Subicio, which is submission. So he uh, he becomes Satan's little bitch and takes the lesser throne in hell. And the throne is, of course, in for the deadly sins. And so we looked at to Dante Alighieri with the Inferno. So we have the 9 circles of hell, and in the end, Jesus is placed uh, on the throne in hell, which is frozen to his waist in ice. So he is now the ruler in hell. And the third album will be based on a third book that is somewhat important to some Satanists. So we have an idea, and the beginning of it, we kill God. So God is dead. He died on December 12th, no, 21st, 2012, when we released Angels Necropolis. So you know.
Well, that's kind of more elaborate, I think, than just eating the body of Christ as Ghost did on the second album, right? Okay.
We've been elaborating, or I mean, we had visions from Satan, and it came to us in a dream or in dreams, and well, we're prophets in that way.
Okay, so what about your music influences? I mean, what made Year of the Goat the Year of the Goat?
Anything from between 60s and the 80s, I would say. And it can be movies, it can be soundtracks, it can be anything with a little bit dark touch, maybe.
Literature,
Yeah,
but
literature.
from way
Yeah, I
earlier.
guess
Of course.
you mentioned Milton. Well, the obvious reference is Blake also, Dante, right? So
Yeah,
yeah, I'm asking also about the literature, movies, stuff like that.
yeah. For this latest album, there's of course the Alucarda movie reference. So and we take in a lot of that, but then musically we have a very wide range of music that we listen to, and it sort of comes together in a melting pot, I would say. We of course have stuff that we all like and listen to, but when we're in a tour bus and I start playing music, the guys look a little, oh, this song, yeah, I know this, but you can tell that it's not like the top 10 of their playlist.
So, what are your guilty pleasures?
I have more. Well, you can hear that when Popper writes a song, there will be Beatles influences. The trippy part of Beatles. If you listen to the Emma, it's yeah. There's a lot of weird Beatles influences there. But I think nowadays we have a good mix of members. Like the majority is from the 70s. We have a guitar player and bass player who are from the 80s, and I think the mix of that is what makes it special. I've but I've been playing music for like 35 years or so, and I noticed that the best ingredient for a band is when you come from different um, genres. So if you like, if everyone would listen to 70s rock, then it wouldn't be interesting because we would just copy the 70s bands. But lately, I'm very much into like Goblin. There's a Swedish band called Gösta Berling's Saga, which is a, like a perfect mixture of Goblin, John Carpenter, and some prog bands. It's a great band, and influences are. It's easy to say like Black Sabbath and Black Widow and bands like that, but yeah, of course.
My guilty pleasure, I think, is Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young.
It's not guilty. It's great.
Yeah, it is. So, but for
For
metal
fuck's sake, the
people,
birds are great.
yeah, and Simon and Garfunkel. So I'm really, when we are working with the harmonies, vocal harmonies, I put my filthy fingers in there a lot.
Okay, so Jonas, your guilty pleasure.
Oi. Ooh, I have to think a bit. I will get back to you with that. I have to think.
It's definitely Duran Duran, right?
I do love Duran Duran.
Me
So,
too.
yeah, it's a great band.
What are your plans for the nearest future?
We have an upcoming tour this autumn. We have a few Swedish dates to begin with. Release party and the major cities in Sweden. And then we go out on tour in October, mostly Germany, but also Austria and Poland in Krakow. Do I pronounce that correctly? Yeah.
If you want to pronounce it correctly, it's Kraków.
Krakow. Yeah.
Yes, we want to pronounce it correctly. Well, you can help us out with the nearest future, which is Summer Dying Loud in, how do you say
Right.
it?
Yeah.
On September the
Wood.
5th, 6th.
I
Wood.
don't remember where it takes place. Let me
Do you
check.
pronounce it Woods?
We would say Lodge, I think.
If it's Łódź, it's Łódź.
Woods.
Wood.
Okay. A bit south of Warsaw.
Actually, it's Aleksandrów Łódzki,
Yes.
and Łódź means a boat.
Okay.
Okay, so Krakow and Aleksandrów Łódzki. Do you have any specific message for the Polish fan?
Well, we're obviously looking forward to playing in Poland again. Every time I've been there, I've always had an amazing time. It's always fun to play in Poland. You guys are a little bit more crazy than the rest of Europe, in a good way.
I was drinking a lot of Żubrówka with a bartender in where was that? That was, how do you pronounce that? Wrocław, or was
It's pretty close, Wrocław.
Wrocław or something like that. Because I'm going with the
I think,
Serbian, like the C goes to TS. Wrocław, they would say in Serbia, I think.
well, in general, I think Scandinavian pronunciation and Slavic pronunciation, well, it's easy for us to kind of pronounce each other's words in a pretty decent way. Okay, thanks. That's about it. And it was great having you.
Thank you so much, and pet the dog from us.